Hello and welcome back to Xenon Gaming Season 4, brought to you by Campfire Gaming. Tonight we have Team Mystic Main versus Alpha 1 in the first elimination match of this playoff of this series so far. So, Alias, how excited are you about this game?
Well, I'm excited. It's been a little while since I got into Cast Mystic or even Alpha 1, actually. So it'd be a pretty good time. And these high stake matches are also when a lot of interesting things are brought out. As it's not worth keeping everything in the kitchen sink hidden if you're eliminated from the league. So I'm anticipating interesting things from both these teams, especially Mystic, who just last night lost 2-1 to HK Rebels, putting them in this elimination position. So they especially are, I think, going to be really, really trying to get things going because they don't want to be outshone by the Academy roster.
Yeah, definitely not. And like they're going to be trying to see if they can win to go up against either HK Rebels in a revenge match or against their other team in the Academy roster. So it's just going to be interesting to see if they can do a little bit better than they did last time against HK Rebels, where they took their map pick against them but lost their own and then lost the decider match in a kind of back and forth affair. But it was just a little bit of messy mistakes coming out from them, and then Alpha One just kind of losing it out pretty dominantly against the Academy roster. So it's just I'm not really sure who's going to really come out on top here. We'll just have to wait and see, and especially just determine what map bans are going to look like, just to see really who kind of comes out on top here.
Map bans are indeed going to be a very important sight to see, as different teams tend to excel on different maps, and well, it's always good to know where we're going as a result.
Definitely for sure. And we should be getting the map bans up on the screen just a second as it slowly loads in as we see Chalet, Border Cafe Club taken off the board first, with Oregon Bank picked out first, and Villa theme rounding out the bands with Skyscraper as our decider map.
No, it's, those of you who are observant at home will recognize is that the first two maps, those being Oregon and Bank, are maps that Mystic played yesterday. Oregon they won and Bank they lost. So a bit a little bit iffy potentially if you are Mystic, especially if Alpha 1 had a person or two watching those games who could kind of try to counter shot a little bit and just see what's going on there. With, of course, Skyscraper being the decider, it's when I anticipate the really wild things coming out if we do get to that point.
I will say though that Bank is still, I think, in terms of just their overall preferences, their second favorite map. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to them personally, but just from my own like statistics, that is their second most favorite map. So it's not surprising for me to see that still come off on the board. They're still pretty comfortable, and they did have to play against the Rebels, who really like that map as well. So it's not too surprising to see it still come out. But seeing them kind of go back to the same general maps, we should be kind of just seeing them kind of try to repeat what they did yesterday, clean up some of their mistakes, and we'll be seeing us get underway into Oregon in just a second here. But I'm expecting just to see Mystic try to play a little bit similar to how they did last night. Just shore up some of those mistakes that they made, and just make sure that they can actually come out in a decisive manner.
Gonna get things going here with the map, or with the operator bands rather, with members congratulating us on a Happy New Year, I guess. Mystic gets the first ban as they are on the defense here, so we'll just see what they want to get out of the way. Maybe it's something as last night, maybe not. I'm not going to know, as I unfortunately was unable to watch the bands yesterday. Nook coming out is the first operator band. Very, very common now. A lot of us, mostly myself here, have been calling her kind of the new Thatcher with her ban rate, so makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense, and that is what they started off their bans with yesterday. They actually banned out Nook and Cade, so we'll see what Alpha One choose to ban out against them. The bring out the Ying in the first attacking ban, and we'll see what they choose to go out with. Actually, these are the exact, almost nearly the exact same attacking bans as last night. It was Nook, Ying, Azami, Cade. So we'll see if they ban out Azami here. Oh, are we just seeing a replay of the HK Rebels game? Is that what's going on? What's happening? If it goes to Cade again, so it's are we? Hold on. I need to talk to producers. Yes, we are seeing a replay here. Cut the feed. Cut the feed.
The script has been leaked indeed, but unfortunately, just have to rock and roll with it now. Some very characteristic mowing coming out from the Mystic main roster. As they're going to go to Laundry Supply Room for their first battleground here. I don't know if this is actually a repeat of the first site that they played the last time they were on this map, so could be going even more into similarities than we thought we were. But either way, a solid defending site. That and Kid's Bedroom are pretty tied up, in my opinion, for being the opening site, for being the better site, so makes sense to go to this one. It's just a matter of preference. Could have Smoke in that elbow position, most likely. That's why he is hollowing out that wall. Valkyrie for some really good information. Jaeger and Wamai to hold the grenades back. Round that out with a Malusi. Give your best fragger a good gun and a 3-speed, along with some utility that helps you on site. It's a pretty good recipe.
Yeah, definitely. It just gives off the impression that they just want to make sure that Alpha One have to stall out so much time trying to clear out some of these key positions around the map, especially towards like that bunker side and possibly somewhere here in kitchen, as we do see them start to open up some holes over in the master area and just look to be shoring up some of these defenses over in meeting and security. So it just means it looks like they're just wanting to hold out for as long as they can in certain spots and just kind of slow them down for as long as they can, just to make sure that Alpha One doesn't have as much time to start to execute as much as they would like, and just have enough time to actually get rid of some of these players.
Looks like we might have a top-down clear coming out here from Alpha 1. They want to clear the entire map, and it's probably a good call. Mystic is a team that will use the entire map if you give it to them. But doesn't look like they have that much of roam presence happening just yet, so more congregated around the site with some players playing at the top of staircases. So allow for a lot of very quick map clear coming out from Alpha 1. Almost take Ozone off of the board, but is able to scamper off and get out of dodge. So now everyone's fallen completely back to the site, and it's 2 minutes to make this work.
Yeah, they've only fallen back to site within a minute of the round, so that's just that's not a whole lot of time. It is a lot of time wasted and doesn't mean that they have less time to work with, but still, just falling back that early may prove to be a bit costly in the end, but we'll see if once they're back on site, it's actually not that bad, because then you can hold angles with each other, so it's not really the worst thing in the world, but it does make it to where you're a little bit clumped in. You can't have as many angles to actually start to maneuver yourself around with. You only have a few limited spaces. So seeing them all kind of clump up around the freezer area is a little concerning in terms of Alpha 1 right now, as they're just kind of funneling themselves into one area that all of Mystic's guns are pointed at right now.
Almost a pick on the candle, but not quite. He gets himself out. Hectic wants to get this pick onto the freezer or laundry hallway player, but no one is quite revealing themselves enough. 1 minute and 10 seconds is all that remains. Hatches must be opened. Site ground must be taken. He's going to roll the attack right now. Still opening things up, still getting in position, and actually rotating quite a bit. Both freezer and the backstairs area are being pressured at the moment from the looks of it, along with the E-box hatch. So, bit of a collapsing strategy, most likely being employed by Alpha 1. Pressure on main stairs as well from memories of on the Thatcher. grenade. First pick comes out, Moses gets taken down, Valkyrie off of the board, and then another one from Silly actually onto Candle. Hectic gets his own on the aggro, and then it's all a collapse onto the site, and it's only Cryptix. He gets the first one, gets a second almost, but not quite. Uses a smoke grenade, things it out. He has to waste time here. He has to get the picks. Granola for 15 seconds is all he needs with the diffuser goes down. He has to attack this now. Slowly peeking his angle, slowly taking his corners. One mistake, and he's done for. All the attack, just holding a crossfire on him. Aggressing, but a beautiful shot. Gets Dino off of the board. He has to get this lounge player, but it doesn't end up working out. Shot from behind the pillar by Silly, who gets a 4K on the round, I believe. And that's Alpha 1 taking it in pretty convincing fashion.
Yeah, again, just kind of going off of like just that really early fallback going out from the freezer area and just meant that Mystic kind of just let Alpha 1 kind of do whatever they wanted essentially throughout the map. They could just kind of start to funnel towards freezer, they could funnel towards main, they could funnel towards the backstairs, kind of just go for a three-pronged attack, making like Mystic not really being able to work with each other, just kind of go for these one-on-one gunfights. So it just means that those crossfires that I mentioned earlier were not really coming to effect. You essentially have to like play your ones there and not really have to play off your teammate, which is a playstyle that Mystic are really well known for. They're trying to play passive, they're trying to play off each other, but just giving Alpha 1 too much room there just meant that you couldn't actually be able, we're not able to do that. So it's just really need to see Mystic kind of get more aggressive on the room, make sure they stall him out for a little bit longer.
I've been quoted as saying that I don't really like bunker strategies, and that's one of the reasons why. Whenever you give all of the top floor to the attack, it doesn't really give you a whole lot of room to work with, and it gives them so much time to set things up and get utility off of the board and work picks. We saw them start working things with almost 2 minutes left on the clock, and that means they can really poke and prod at the defense and rotate people around and get rid of utility at their own pace. And Mystic just kind of let them do it. Looks like they are employing a much more realm-heavy strategy now that they're defending kids' dorms. But will they have the same problem of too much passivity?
That is certainly the question here, as Silly is looking to get into the tower stairs as fast as possible, possibly looking out for roam from the bottom's floor there. He's just trying to see if he can clear out some of these areas here, just to make sure that they can start to open up that wall, as the rest of his team is looking to pressure towards the master armory side. As it's just another really slow round coming out from them. They're not looking to go super aggressive here early on. They're just getting their intel, just making sure that they have the room to actually start opening up these walls and start pressuring Mystic on the actual bomb site. Now, they haven't fallen back nearly as often, nearly as early as they did last round, so we do see aggro still on the room in the bottom floor. We could see him possibly go for a late flank here when his team really needs it. He's just playing it really passively here, and I think that's a really good play here, Alio.
It allows them to lurk around really well and take and hold some space that Alpha 1 are going to want, and then when it's least convenient, pop up a staircase and shoot some of the back of the head. Natural almost kills memories, but not quite, doesn't land quite where it needs to. Yo, Ozone getting back on cans. That was a really good place, bulletproof. Hectic is the first pick onto aggro, the roam that we were talking about. Taken off the board is the opening pick, far away from his teammates, far away from a refrag. A little bit of aggression from Cryptix doesn't quite pay off, but he saves his life in the process, so not that much lost realistically, but this is serious. But things are going to go down.
It is certainly looking like Alpha 1's ready to start getting going, as Selrak gets the second kill onto Candle here. And we're just going to see if Ozone can try to repel this attic push here, as the rest of the team is probably looking to try to hold off this master push here in just a few seconds here, as Execute's looking ready to happen here.
Certainly is looking ready to happen. Selric almost getting killed. Ozone actually getting killed, and it's all left up to Moses and Cryptix. A very familiar situation for Cryptix. Silly is taken down onto the ground inside of attic, it looks like. Hectic wants to push in, try to get this revive off and get a refrag if he possibly can. Cryptix is wary of it though, at least a little bit. Moves in, tries to get the down, but ends up getting killed instead. Moses left in a 1v5 here. Starts getting some shots off. He's down 2, but he hasn't been able to do much more than that. Nitrosol goes out and misses. Only 10 seconds left. Diffuser goes down, and Dino Angel, off a good angle from inside of closet, manages to get the securing pick. a lot of good play from Alpha 1. I think a lot more mistakes from Mystic than any of us were expecting.
Just really playing it very slowly here seems to be the general game plan for Mystic. It just seems they're really afraid to give away that first pick, but that's just what they end up doing later in the round. And just unfortunately, Alpha One's just dictating the pace right now. Even though they're taking things so slowly, they're just going about things methodically. They're not looking to rush into things. They're looking to just get these picks wherever they need, start opening up these pressure points onto the actual bomb site, and just make sure that Mystic can't hold anything comfortably, and just like all these tenable positions are just no longer there for them. So it just means that once those players are gone, they can start to move in and actually plant the bomb twice now in a row so far, which is not typically very seen as far as I'm aware in the tier 3 scene.
Good objective play from them. Getting the bomb down does give you a lot of advantages, even if you are a team that likes to go more for gunfights, as it brings the gunfights to you, something that Alpha 1 have been taking advantage of. Because you see, well, there's a 6-man on the defense, so we often call Time, Father Time, not Time to Light, another caster, good dude.
not the same guy, not the same dude. Different
And,
dude.
well, whenever you can take Time off of the board and put it on your hands instead, gives you a lot of advantages, and that's exactly what Penny the Diffuser does. Back down to basement, Missy goes, by the way. Another west over clear coming out from Alpha 1. This is going to be where Mystic really needs to get things started, as you don't want to lose too many rounds when you're on the defense, especially with how well Alpha 1 are playing this.
Yeah, they're just looking to go for the same general game plan. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. As it just looks like that Selrek is just going to be going for the same game plan as he did last time. Start opening up these floors above in the kitchen security area, just making sure those players can't actually sit in there anymore. But Candle is not sitting over in that position. He's just sitting at the top of Freezer stairs and just going to look to fall back just a bit as that floor above him is starting to get opened. As the attack of Alpha 1 is starting to come out. But once again, both teams playing it very patiently, not looking to give away that first pick without getting some actionable intel that they can work with. So it's just going to be a matter of time as who is the first one to strike.
At this point, Alpha 1 have realized that Mystic are pretty content to just sit on sites in their hidey holes and not go on any brave adventures. Softly Baggins-like, if you think about it. Moses does want to get a little bit aggressive onto the stage in Grand Hall area, but doesn't quite go for it. Wary of any potential people that could be trying to pick him off in this position, or be aware of his position. Memories by the main stairs yet again, a position we saw him playing last time. Drops the diffuser into the hands of Dino Angel on Hibana, as Hectic gets ready to try to pressure Freezer yet again.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to be trying to pressure Freezer all alone here as the rest of his team looks to be trying to open up those meeting hatches and pressure down the back stairs, as it looks like they're going for a similar three-pronged attack, possibly fourth one coming out from bunker, as it does seem that some players are rotating over there from the actual overlay view, as Cryptix is just going to have to hold this on his own with possible support from Moses, who's just all the way out in pillar. They're going to have to see if they can repel this here. Otherwise, this attack is going to be coming to a similar success as we saw in round 1.
You're not the position you want to be in if you are Mystic. I'm sure they're feeling that right now. Mirror has been brought out. I think that's a newer adaptation and probably for the best, if I were to say so. Attack coming in from Bunker. Shield almost getting knocked off by a frag grenade from Selric. Actually does land and get it. Silly does get a first pick though. Shotgun kill from Cryptix gets a refrag along with aggro onto Silly. More plays that are necessary for the defense to win. Moses gets an impact grenade onto Dino Angel. Mystic had the man advantage for once, but Memories takes one back. And then he takes a second back even, but Cryptix gets another, and then the refrags come! And Mystic are finally on the board. Beautiful shots from Cryptix in the positions he needs to play. And he's now joined by aggro and actually having kills on his team.
Much better defense coming out there, and I think that Mira was very underrated in that round. I didn't really highlight it there, but the rest of Alpha 1, once they saw those mirror windows on the actual laundry and freezer parts of the map, they all rotated to try to avoid that as much as possible. It's like, those things are just really mind-blowing in terms of how good they are just to repel certain attacks, because how are you going to realistically deal with them in a way that just makes it to where the defense can't utilize them very well. They can shoot them off if you use a Hibana to try to get rid of them. Like, because everybody's in a position that they can just shoot it. So what do you realistically do? You try to rotate over, but unfortunately, you didn't give yourself enough time to clear out some of those spots. So you're just left to try to run into the crossfires that Mystic set up. Did kind of go back and forth, but again, you'll take that if you're Mystic. A much better round coming out from them.
May have lied last round. Moses also has a kill along with Aggro and Cryptix. Cryptix sitting at 5 and 3, really good plays from him. Often being one of, if not the last people alive. Good stuff from him. Good ability to survive in the late parts of the round when you're often needed, especially if you are that smoke player. But having Aggro and Moses on the board as well, there's going to be a little bit of pressure off of his shoulders, and that I'm sure he's going to notice. Sailor running out Garage before he gets his drone back. Silly going over to E3 yet again. Very similar clear to what we've seen Alpha 1 do. They know how they like to attack this site, and they're just going to do it that way. Especially since it works first time. But Mystic has shown they're capable of adapting thus far. And if they're able to do it again, it is entirely possible for Mystic to start taking more rounds off Alpha 1. But Alpha 1 are also able to adapt, so we're just going to have to see how it goes for both teams.
Halo does get aggressive onto Selrak, who tried to hop in the armory window, but he does immediately get shut down as he tried to move back onto the actual bomb site over to his teammate of Cryptix in Trophy there. But was a nice kill to try to get a little bit aggressive to try to make sure that they didn't get as much map control as quickly. But Aggro gets a nice shot onto Hectic, who's almost, he nearly got his head picked off, and he does in the classroom area. Man, these refacts are just coming out for Alpha 1. Any advantage that Mystic are trying to get here is just immediately taken away from them just by these players who are just watching out for these aggressive plays coming out from Mystic. And just unfortunately, it's still a 3v3 right now. But if you're Mystic, honestly, it's probably not the worst. You still did waste a lot of time, but it's going to be a lot harder to actually hold this actual bomb site now.
It is going to be harder to do so, but you have taken Selric and Hectic off the board. Hectic especially is an amazing pick, as he's been a very influential player thus far. So not having to worry about him, something that Mystic is certainly going to appreciate. Moses is in a very similar position where he was last time. You'd be holding the same things, no doubt, as well. New hole opened up to get a peek into the trophy doorway. It was going to be valuable, as well Thatcher's making things harder. Shuts down Ozo's bulletproof cam that he was playing on the last time we saw this site brought out. One in place specifically to watch the breach and counter a plant a little bit as well. Dino Angel in the bedroom, Memories in trophy room. Both of them looking to just get a pick on the site. Memories does, as Moses reveals too much of his head and gets it taken off. Now that's the main advantage that Alpha 1 need to get things going here. 30 seconds left, so not a ton of time, but enough time if they're able to work things quickly. If more people from this reveal themselves, like Ozone does, leaving Cryptix yet again in a clutch situation. He's gonna make his way over to White Stairs, but not before Memories is able to get a second pick on the round. Really been doing good, fragging out from that support position. 3-1 for Alpha 1 off some really good play from them and a little bit of odd play from Mystic.
I wouldn't necessarily call it odd play coming out from Mystic. It was just trying to set the initiative early in the round, making sure you put yourself out on top. But unfortunately, Alpha 1 read into that and just held all these positions to make sure that Mystic couldn't get back onto site and capitalize on top of those advantages they try to get. Because you saw twice somebody from Mystic get aggressive, but then immediately get shut down on their way back to a safer position. So it's just unfortunately for Mystic there, you love to see the attempt to actually get aggressive there and set the pace of the round. But just when Alpha 1 are playing so disciplined right now, it's just really hard to get something going against a team that is so willing to like just play off each other. Yeah, we're willing to give up one frag if we're able to get you in response. So it's just, if you're Mystic right now, how do you separate these players into single gunfights right now, Alio?
Well, you don't if they're following a certain set of rules, if they're playing off one another. There's an old, I believe it was Fabian that said that if you're more than 5 seconds away from helping a teammate, then too far away. And, well, Alpha 1 is certainly embodied that. Whenever, like you said, whenever one person is picked off by Mystic, there's another person from Alpha 1 that pops right up and gets the refrag, and it's been working out so well for them. And I'm sure they're going to continue to play like that. Mystic has been playing a lot of solo, isolated positions. Yes, they're playing together for the most part, but sometimes see Aggro or Candle in a bit of a precarious position where they're not able to get refragged. And Alpha 1 take advantage of that. Doc getting bit up early, but he's Doc, so he can heal himself. Not too big of a worry. That and the Bailiff, he's, well, become a much better operator than he was before. And I'm actually glad we're seeing him in a comp now.
It is. Can I just say how ridiculous it is that he can actually heal himself for 200 HP? Not trying to say he shouldn't have gotten a buff. I totally believe he should have, but 200 HP? That just seems a little ridiculous. But regardless of my opinions on the matter, we are seeing another slow round coming out so far. But I mean, yeah. But we are going to see another slow take coming out from Alpha 1 here, looking to just try to see if they can pinch out some of these players on the actual top floor roam, as they are trying to use that Osa shield to actually give themselves a good leverage spot, try to take out aggro here, but he does have some support from Candle over in the attic area, so we'll see if they can actually do something to actually clear him out, but it looks like they're actually going onto site directly here. I'm not sure Mystic realizes this as Dino does go down, but Sealy gets a kill and Hectic gets another one in response as Cryptix finally gets one on the board for Mystic so far, but Selrak gets his third of the round. What's going on right now as Plant goes down?
Not enough protection from Mystic, and it becomes very obvious as Aggro is left all alone. Plant down as well. He has to move around as the big chunky Doc. They're gonna hear him coming from a mile away, and that SMG does not deal tons of body shot damage. So he's gonna have to hit the head on just about everyone. There is a distinct lack of HP from some players, but it's not gonna work into Aggro's favor too much. Heals himself up a little bit, tries to get the quick peeks going, but no one's revealing themselves except for Hectic. Gets taken off the board fairly easily. Tries to get the next one, but behind a reinforced wall. He needs to get going into split here, but they're watching this crossfire. If he walks in, he gets shot from 2 angles, and indeed he does. Dino gets the pick, and 4-1! 4-1 on... Actually, I think this is their map choice. Actually correcting myself a little bit. Choice. So we do expect them to be good at it, but Mystic, you're on the defense, you're on the side that should be fairly advantageous. Granted, it has sort of slipped a little bit more towards the attack in Pro League, but not like this.
And Oregon's not like heavily preference for the Mystic here, but they are pretty decent on it when they actually do go here. So it's really worrying to see that they're struggling so far on this actual map right now that should be defensive sided. And I don't know how Alpha 1 actually started to move on to site. We actually weren't able to see what really happened there, but just it looked like everyone just started to realize they have no actual presence on site. We can just take this for free. They're giving us so much room here. And just like where were the guns for Mystic? Where's the intel going out? It's just like I'm trying to figure out what's going on for Mystic right now, because it's just, is it intel you're not lacking in? Is it just you're losing your gunfights? Like, what's going on? Because I don't think they even know what's going on right now.
I had to guess what happened in that last round, that there was no castle for Mystic unless I am blind, which is possible, not wearing my glasses. I don't think there was. And so there was nothing on that split door, so they just walked in. They just walked in, no one was contesting the lobby, and no one's really contesting split either as an extension of that. And I just used that to shoot people in the back of the head, and by the time people realized what was going on, Plant was already going down. Candle is looking to get a little bit more aggressive on this solo roam here on this alibi, but looks like he is entirely unsupported, so a little bit of a coordinated pinch, or even just holding him off in an area, like he's an SCP, is all it'll really take for Alpha 1 to get things going here and to just keep him out of position. Which they're entirely capable of, given the previous history I've seen from them with roam clears. But I do like the attempt at being more aggressive from Mystic, because they do have to hold some of this ground off from being taken by A1.
It is certainly what you needed to get going here, because that's the only thing going for you so far, is just how much time you're wasting on the roam so far. Is just because Alpha 1, if you give them too much room, they're gonna run over you. It just seems like that's the general game plan. We do see Mira coming out from aggro once again, and want to remind you that this was what Alpha 1 really struggled to deal with last time, and it was Mystic's 1 round win. Just them not being able to actually deal with that Mira window, but we'll see if Alpha 1 can actually look to get a better idea of, like, okay, we know they're going to bring out the Mira last time. Let's actually clear out some of those positions a bit faster this time. as it looks like they are trying to focus more on those backside and bunker areas of the map, and just we'll see what they do in this final minute.
A little bit of random pressure by Candle. They still thought he was up in T2 or T3, but he actually was on site instead. Good awareness from him to get back to his teammates, and he's actually wasted a decent bit of time, and he made them fear for their lives even, and wasted a little bit of time looking for him in the end. So many is all that separates us between, well, teams switching sides. A lot of E-box pressure coming out yet again. Looks like some bunker pressure coming out again as well. Gonna open up the side of that wall, so aggro's going, or Moses, excuse me, is gonna have to move unless Cryptix is able to get those Hibana pellets off. Dino going over towards the main side of things now, along with Memories. The actually graphic designer for Parabellum, if anyone was wondering. I think they want to EMP this, and actually, no, they're not going to Excaros it off. Hectic pushes all the way up into Freezer on the locker. It doesn't look like anyone really sees him. And they're pushing up behind him. I think that was silly. And he's going to get this peek on T'Challa, which is successful, but Cryptix is with its own, along with Candle, before Dano gets the refrag, and then Cryptix gets another one. All up to Hectic now in a clutch situation. Gonna get the first one onto Moses. He's gonna expose himself to Cryptix here, but Cryptix plays passive, thinks better of it. And Mystic do take their second round, and they have been good at this one bomb site, but it's not all you need when playing against a team that's that coordinated. And if Alpha 1's able to play aggressive but coordinated like they were on the attack that well on the defense, could be lights out here for Mystic.
Could be really bad as we do go into the side switch. Once again, getting their second round win off that mirror window, just again, not really being able to actually deal with it in a concise manner, and just not really dealing with the other extremity parts of the map, as it just couldn't clear up pillar, couldn't clear up bunker in a timely fashion, so it just meant that you had to funnel down into where the mirror windows are, and then you get gunned down because they know where you are. And it's just unfortunately for Alpha 1, they just kind of lost that. But just only getting 2 round wins on the same bomb site and none others, not looking good for Mystic. And let's see if they actually pick it up here on their attack. I do hope to see a bit more of a faster pace coming out from them. Just seeing that Alpha 1 looked to take their time generally as far as their attacks went. So let's see if they choose to try to set the pace a little bit early on and just make sure that they have the tempo going in and make sure that they pick off some of these roamers if there are any around the map, and just make sure that it makes it harder for the defense to actually sit comfortably on site.
We're seeing an Amaru being brought by aggro, so I'd anticipate something fairly aggressive from him. Probably taking T3, actually. If we can just take up into T3, then sit on those C1 stairs. If someone tries to flank up from that area, then he can catch them off guard, especially if he's able to get in without them noticing, which it looks like he does. So now, his position is going to be to sit and wait, lurk around that area, and then push down as a sting at the last second whenever the execute goes down. Angel doing the entry thing, taking aggressive map control into dining and kitchen as an extension. Moses outside of the main door here. Another lurk position, another flank watchy position. His job is going to just be to watch rotates through split, maybe pick someone off of cam, and, well, we'll put surrender the site later on.
Kind of similar approach coming out from Alpha 1, not looking to actually get super aggressive on the roam, just looking to kind of sit on site. Just make sure they waste time and just shoot drones, make sure that Team Mystic don't actually have a whole lot of intel to actually work off of, and just play off this Malusi as Cryptix does get the first kill onto Silly. That was the Freezer Stairs player, playing a little bit too aggressive there, just not really playing off his team and just actual intel. Hectic is trying to get a C4. I think it got shot out in the air and does get aggressive onto Cryptix, but gets immediately shut down. Cryptix doing really good work at clearing out this freezer position, but can the rest of his Alpha 1 actually hold the actual bomb site, as they do still have the mirror windows to work with?
Going 10 and 5, not the score you'd expect from someone whose team is down 2-4. But regardless, excellent work from him. He opens up this round and takes off 2 great players from A1, the 2 top frags of the team. And they have to fight 2 men down. Freezer position retaken by Celric. They just manages to get even a toe shot onto Cryptix. He probably falls and hits the floor. And Dano's going to be backing him up from Chala. An isolated position that he might have a hard time getting out of. If he's held properly, but it doesn't look like Mystic wants to attack there. Actually, looks like they want to go for an E-Box drop, which they do. Candle, one of the first people in, gets the Chala player down, but doesn't see the player in the hallway. He manages to down one before getting killed by Ozone, actually, who's not on the board, as it was, well, things happen. Mystic, they take their first attacking rounds. They get the start to this. That is exactly what they needed.
Really good start of their attacking half right now. Is just looking a lot better and looking a lot more coordinated than they did on their defenses so far. It's just Cryptic's able to shut down any of those aggressive players coming out from Alpha 1 on Fraser's side. Just meant that Alpha 1 had really to look in so many different directions with only 3 people. It's just so hard to do that when you're so down in count advantage. And it's just really beautiful job coming out from Mystic. It's something we really needed to see coming out of them, as it looks like they were just kind of like asleep at the wheel for the first half.
You're gonna see the same side being attempted by Alpha 1. Mirror being brought out yet again. Mystic doesn't look like they're as afraid of it as Alpha 1 was, which will certainly work out in their favor if it was the crutch operator for this defense that Alpha 1's bringing out. Looks like A1 also might have a much more aggressive strategy than they did in the previous round, with Silly going up and reinforcing things inside a kitchen that I don't think were reinforced in the last time. Drone shot out from Candle, so a bit of information gathered in exchange for a drone, which is actually one of the 3 to get shot thus far in this prep phase of a Mystic, which is a little bit iffy, but not the end of the world.
Yeah, it definitely means that they're just not going to have as much intel to work off of later in the round, so let's hope they can actually do a little bit better job keeping their other drones secure, as they do still have 9 left, but having those 3 shot out early in the round gonna hurt them a little bit. Maybe it was a bit of the Fragger situation of just I'm gonna secure site, just get an idea of what's on the board. So it's not too bad to see if that is the case, and it does seem that Candle was one of the people that threw his drone early in the round, so not too bad to see coming out of him. As Silly is looking to get a bit aggressive onto the security position. They do have an idea that he's kind of sitting around here, as he's just going to fortify his position with some of those Midas, making sure that he can't get naded out as easily. Shuts down the aggression coming out from Candle, but they're looking to get aggressive onto him and make sure he can't fall back, but unfortunately he is able to.
Good trade, actually. Yeah, but equal utility exchange, in my opinion. Ash, not the worst player to lose, but Kendall is a good player. And all of Melissa's utility is gone, done and dusted on the ground. So it'll just mean that Memories can play cams guilt-free. Although the defense cams have been secured by the attacks, a lot of that information that was once beneficial to the defense is now also going to be beneficial to the attack. And they're going to make damn sure they use it.
Yeah, I'm just not really sure that there's going to be a lot for Dokkaebi to actually look at here, as there's only 1 cam in the actual downstairs part of the site, and that is the freezer cam, so I'm sure they'll shot that out almost immediately as soon as they realize that those cams have now been hacked. But it does seem that Silly's looking to get aggressive once again onto those back stairs. Mystic does have a lot of intel on that back stairs, but I don't think they've actually realized that he's gone so far up the stairs. They do realize someone's in, I think, of the freezer area, and Chala, and Samoses looks to get aggressive. Selrak protecting his teammate as he's just shutting off his phone, saying, I don't want to be called, get away from me. And good job there to protect his teammate there.
Not quite sure what the thought from Moses was there, but he just walks into the site and gets fried by Selric, as previously mentioned. And now Mystic, with 45 seconds left, are pretty firmly on the back foot here, and they know it. Aggro is sitting on the back stairs, Cryptics inside of barrels. The Ozone over by Freezer. Very disconnected from one another, not quite able to get a refrag if it's needed. Could be very dangerous here. Less than 30 seconds left, though, so things have to happen now. Aggro gets picked off as this Cryptic. So it's all up to Ozone and the 1v4 here from the E-Box drop. Starts getting the peaks going, but no one is giving it to him. No one is playing in positions that are advantageous. They're just watching his drop. The moment he goes for this, he dies. And he's not even going to do it. Draws a little bit of an Among Us on the wall for us all to see on the stream. And that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the round. They just doing a lot better job of not getting nearly as aggressive, just making sure that Mystic have to make the mistakes first before you do. And that was otherwise, aside from the opening refrag situation, it was an otherwise flawless round coming out from Alpha 1 there. just able to play off each other and just play off those mirror windows so well. It just meant that because Mystic couldn't clear out any of the other positions, that they just struggled to actually push in and had essentially had to funnel into the guns of Alpha One, who have been looking really strong so far.
Certainly have. They're going to be up 5-3 now, which is a pretty solid position to be in, given that they're on the advantageous side from this map, at least arguably. Going up to kids and dorms, the side that we saw Mystic have absolutely zero success on. And Alpha One are going to look to change the winner to the bomb site for this match and take this home, which does put them on map point, so they can take their map pick. And then go to Mystics, which would give them pretty good, well, pretty good stuff to work with. Cryptics gives us some facts about, I don't know what sport it is. I stay home a lot. And, well, there's some stuff going on.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not actually sure what they're talking about right now. I was looking at other things right now. I was actually seeing how Alpha One do on Bank. They've actually not played it yet, believe it or not. It's not a very high preference map for them, but they've never played it. So this will be the first time we've actually see them go onto that map. Assuming that they win this out and put themselves on essentially match in series point.
Yep.
As we are going to round number 9, looking to get that map point, as I was mentioning just a second ago, looking to kind of go for another kind of just slow approach, making sure that they watch all these angles to make sure that Mystic can't actually push anywhere in a way that they have the advantage so far. So let's see how Mystic choose to deal with it. It does seem they're going for a small tower killer.
Ozone all the way back inside the support life, and aggro gets picked off on the opening pick here by Dino Angel. And it's an awfully familiar situation for Mystic to be in. Aggro has been having a bit of a rough time this game, as well most of Mystic, especially Ozone. Candle looks desperately to get the refrag on someone inside the kitchen, but no one is revealing themselves, and Silly just decides that he's going to get out and preserve his life. So Mystic have to deal with him later and fight from the 4v5. Doesn't look like they know he's gone. They're wary of this kitchen still. They're worried that someone's inside of it. There probably is someone peeking from the hatch. In all fairness, you need to know what is and isn't clear, because Alpha One are going to take advantage if you don't.
Especially losing one of your first entries, they're just looking to try to play this very slowly, not looking to make another mistake, because if you do, that is map point going out for Alpha One, and that's just not a position you want to be in, being 3 rounds down and having to essentially win everything out from there on out. Just not a position you want to be in, and just unfortunately it's all down to Cryptics with his one nade in pocket to try to clear out some of these players from below. And just Alpha One holding these angles, making sure that they cannot get in anywhere, no matter what they do. They can't get into kitchen, they can't get into bunks. Just, they have nowhere to go right now. They're just stalling out right now.
It's something that Alpha One are aware of, especially with that flank from Memories through the Z Hall. Looks like Silly's also in the basement still as well, so any other staircase ventures could be stopped in the tracks. The smoke grenade does come out from the twitch of Ozone, but people are prepared to stop him from jumping into the window. And Candle is picked off screen. Moses gets in the building, but is quickly shot down, and Ozone's the last alive again. Outside, he has to jump through a gate or shoot it with a drone. And if he tries to pick anything, if he tries to jump in, there are 5 guns looking at him. He gets the first pick on the Hectic. Still trapped outside of the window. Only 10 seconds left. Does he go in? Does he risk the loss to his stats? No, he's just going to hold the angle, slowly peek in, try to preserve what little KD he has. But it's all for naught as Silly gets the pick through a hole in the kid's wall. And that's Mystic facing map points.
Just, it looked like after they lost the first pick on aggro there, just looked like they just were playing scared for the rest of that round. They just looked like they were just like playing so tough and rigid and just trying to figure out, okay, what do we do? What do we do? I have no idea what to do. Just like they couldn't really go anywhere and just start clearing out some of these positions. Nobody was able to take kitchen control. That was still locked down by the Rooney above, by Selrak, I'm assuming. Just, he was able to watch that breach that they were using to try to get an angle onto kitchen. And you didn't do anything with it. Just, like, you're trying to play by the book here from Mystic here, but just not really doing anything with it. The book can only get you so far, but you have to do the rest. And we're not really seeing that coming out of Mystic right now. We're just seeing a few rounds kind of go their way and just more using utility in such a way that tries to get him over the edge, but it doesn't always do that. You have to do something else.
Thing about the book is that the book is great. It gets you very far, like you said, but if your opponent starts throwing it at you and beating you up with it, you might want to reevaluate things a little bit. You're going to see a tertiary site from Alpha 1, the final battleground, potentially, of this map, if they're able to close it out here. And it's be the goal here, and Mystic are going to be desperately trying to avoid that. Looks like we have Cryptics going on to an entry position. A lot of these roll softs that we've honestly just come to expect from Mystic after watching them yesterday. Although, given the fact that Cryptics is the only person consistently killing people from Mystic, I'd say it's probably a good decision to stick him there. Most going onto the flex, and Aggro going on to that more soft support Lurk role again, assuming that position from Moses. Or from Aggro, rather. Or, no, Moses. Alright, ignore me.
We're slowly getting there. We're slowly figuring it out. We're these names. Oh man.
Clear coming in from small tower via Moses, as well as a lot of clear onto the main side of the building. Buck being used to create some good rotates that his team can use. And he's not actually that far away from a gunfight with Hector or Silly, both of whom are going to be staring Ozone down with very powerful weapons.
I think they do realize that out of control is clear, so they can take it if they actually go for that position. But Dino is looking to get aggressive with his C4. Does seem that they're ready to start to bust that wall open, but unfortunately, Dino's just going to waste his C4 as Candle and Aggro get the first 2 kills on the round. Those players from Alpha 1 getting a little too aggressive there on those positions. And just unfortunately, a wasted utility just means that it's still advantage for Mystic right now. Something they desperately need to keep themselves in this map.
Only a minute and a half left, but Mystic have a lot of good stuff going for them, especially with the pick from Moses. And now it's only Memories and Cellrack left. If Mystic can continue to stretch this out to get this man advantage working for them, they could really take this round. But Memories does get a pick. Drops the diffuser, but Ozone, boy, has teammates to spare.
He certainly does. Unfortunately, Ozone just not really looking good so far in this series. He is 1-8 right now. Not looking good as far as his gun skill, but his IGLing skills is impeccable as he is leading his team to a possible round win for them, as Cellrack is all alone essentially, as that diffuser is starting to go down, and just Mystic is looking to lock down some of these angles and make sure that he can't go in. But he does get a nice aggressive shot onto Candle from the floor position that was used to lock down that position, but unfortunately Cellrack is somehow able to win. Those holes go both ways, but it's still looking really tough for him as he needs to go for these aggressive 1v1s. But unfortunately, Cryptics with a nice long angle from Master is just able to lock him down. And that's another round for Mystic.
Exactly what Mystic needed to get themselves back into it. But if they aren't able to get momentum going, then, well, Alpha 1 are going on to a better site for them. A site that they've won. They're starting their site rotation over. And they know how to play Laundry. They won it the last time we saw them play it. We have seen Mystic take down the site. But it seems like Alpha 1 know how to counter that take that Mystic did, so they have to get something else going. They have to adapt and bring out something that Alpha 1 can't counter.
It just seems that the only rounds that Mystic are able to actually win out is when Alpha 1 plays, I don't want to say dumb, but a little bit reckless, right? Like, they play in reckless positions that just, like, it's a 50-50 at that point. Okay, I may or may not get this kill. And if they lose, okay, whatever. But, like, those rounds are typically what Mystic has gotten the advantage in, when Alpha 1 decide to play a little reckless. And that's not really a good method of winning, because Alpha 1 is showing themselves as a very patient and sturdiest team right now. They're willing to take their time. So if you're not able to take them out when they're like that, and only when they're reckless, then what are you going to be able to do? So let's hope that for their sake, they're able to start to, like, nail down some of these more passive players and lock them down.
They have to stop this team play that Alpha 1 have been good at from coming out for 2 more rounds here, and that just guarantees overtime. It doesn't even guarantee a map win. And I'm sure Mystic are going to be aware of that. They're able to get themselves on the main foot. We've seen them do it, but they just have to do it consistently. Looks like Mystic are going back to their original roles here, with Moses reserving his lurk position, and Candle assuming his position of frying Silly off of peaks. And that gives Mystic the advantage yet again, a repeat from last round in the best way possible. Excuse me, if you want them to take this round.
Yeah, just once again, something I was saying earlier, Silly just getting a little aggro there, kind of goes against him there. And just unfortunately, that's just the one less roamer that they have to deal with. And just unfortunately, oh, it's not looking good in Alpha 1, but they are starting to play a little bit more passively, realizing that, okay, these aggressive plays are not exactly working out for us. They know how to counter that. So let's just play back near the site, play off each other, play off our intel. As we do see one Goyo canister start to get popped. I don't know who popped it, but that's going to waste a little bit more time for the side of Alpha 1.
Mystic's going to be pushing into this free, or Mosic's going to be pushing into this freezer area, rather. Dana has been playing this shallow position pretty consistently. He's been trying to be very good at it as well. Hectic C4 in hand. He's waiting for someone to just walk down the staircase so we can kill them without actually taking a gunfight, but Moses is going to be wiser to it. C4 goes out, no damage dealt, no kill obtained. That's exactly what Mystic is going to want. He's going to start flashing out of the position now, along with sending a frag grenade from... Probably, actually, not a frag grenade now that I think about it. And minute left to go.
He has record.
Candle gets another pick on to Selric, but Memories has the flank going. Can he get the pick? Yes, he does. He's going to try to push the advantage further by going into meeting. If they know this here, he could wreck things from Mystic. Hectic looks over to the main stairs, then over to Freezer yet again. He knows that Cryptix is there, but is he able to get the pick? Ozone almost killed before he gets the pick on the Memories, his second on the board, but Cryptix is picked off, as is aggro. It's all up to Moses and Ozone. Potential drop inbound from the hatch, but it's actually going to be a more main stairs oriented attack for them. Only 20 seconds left is all they have. They have to kill 2 people in that time. Moses is going to get droned in, but he gets downs! And Ozone, he has to win this, but he doesn't! Hectic just gets the pick! And Mystic, they looked so damn good, but they're not able to hold it together in the final round. And that puts Alpha 1 up 1-0 in maps and 1 map away from winning the series.
I just, team play coming out from Alpha 1, just on top. Just, I mean, like, they look so good playing off each other so well in those final seconds of the round. Just, they're able to isolate some of those Mystic players who are just kind of swinging in individualistically, and it's just like, I don't really have much else to say. I've been kind of talking myself into a wall in terms of how Mystic's looking. So, I mean, just
It is one of those situations where it is very difficult to look at what's going on and figure out why things are happening because we're not in the call with them. We only have the wonderful perspective that Andrew is providing us, which unfortunately can't see the whole picture as it is just one lens onto what's going on. That being said, we are going to send it to a quick 5-ish minute break. So make sure to stay tuned as we're going to go to Bank next, which is Mystic's map pick. So we're hoping that they're going to look better on it than they did on Oregon for their sake.
yeah, certainly so. So hopefully they do look a little bit better and just like Alpha 1 showing that they're very comfortable. But once again, going to quick break. We'll be right back.
Hello, welcome back to Xenon Gaming Series Season 4. We're about to embark on Map 2 with Team Mystic Main versus Alpha 1. We just saw Alpha 1 take Oregon 7-4, and then we're going to go to Mystic's map pick, and once again, I'm joined by Sirius.
Yes, hello. the other guy who's been talking a little bit too much and overanalyzing literally everything. But unfortunately, I'm overanalyzing Mystics' lack of being able to actually deal with the passive players coming out from Alpha 1. And I'm a little bit concerned going into map 2, which is Bank, which we should be seeing just shortly, which is a bigger map. So you'd think that more rooms to clear is gonna be harder for you to actually clear and take things in a more serious amount of time. Hmm.
Certainly would look to be so. I'm hoping one thing that I'd like to see from Mystic is just like, you gotta contest people, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because Alpha 1 is very good at taking any amount of time that they have and stretching that so they can get more mileage out of it. And if Mystic lets them have that time, then, well, they're going to use it. Alpha 1 gets the first ban here now that those have started, as they're on the defense. So they get to ban the first attacker, which is going to be a Nook. I'm not surprised. I don't know about you, Sirius.
I'm not surprised at all. She's such a powerful operator in just terms of this meta and on this map in particular, as she can just kind of sneak around just about anywhere. There's so many avenues that she can just maneuver herself around. Just really good operator to get rid of. And Hibana on the other hand as well. Just really good to kind of get some of those hatches for the basement bomb site. Make sure you can open some of those walls from a distance on the upper floors. Just really good bands coming out from the side of the attack, but we'll see what they start to get rid of on the defense, and it's going to be Cade first.
Pro solid ban for this map. I would say, even with Thatcher being more common now and with Impact EMPs being a thing, still it's pesky to look at exactly where the claws are. So again, just a little bit of sensical thinking there. Valkyrie banned off as well. Very powerful operator on this map if you know what you're doing. And even arguably if you don't, as there is an abundance of cam spots that are fairly easy to find and very effective once you find them. Walker CCTV room, excuse me, coming out from Alpha 1 here as the first site.
Interesting thing to note is that twice now Mira has been left up on the board on maps that she is very popular on, I would say. We did see Dino kind of switch off from her to back down to the smoke, so we're not gonna see her just yet, but especially down on the basement, she is just gonna be such powerful operator to use, and it's just like really interesting because I don't think I've ever really seen her be left up on two consecutive maps. Have you?
I have before, but not on Oregon and Bank, as, well, like you said, she's very popular on these maps, so it just makes sense that she's probably going to be banned out. Pro strategy here potentially coming out with the, well, with the cap can allowing for a lot of funneling into awkward areas and taking off of ankles, as I'm sure you've all experienced if you have ever played casual in your lifetime. And Amaru coming out from aggro yet again. He likes this operator quite a bit, it would seem. It allows him to get into the building fast and efficiently, and aggressive people like that.
Yeah, it certainly do, and it just makes you it allows you to be able to take some of those top floor positions a lot faster and just clear out those roamers a lot faster than they probably would expect normally, as it does take a lot of time to start to rappel up, get into those windows, and then just start to slowly pick them off. As I'm saying, because Silly didn't even realize he was up here that quickly, and two kills come out quickly for the side of Mystic, really setting the pace early in this bank here, and it's just really nice to see that they're starting to finally get something going here.
And Cryptix tags onto Hectic as well. Almost a team kill onto aggro with a little bit of a flight coming out there, but doesn't end up killing a human, so it's fine. And that's 2 minutes left that Mystic have to work this round from a 5v2 advantage. They can bleed men and then some with the advantage they have. They do still have to play it smart. Dano may potentially be thinking about a flank up towards the bottom of square. If he can pull this off and catch someone off guard, then he'll have a damn good proposition. But Mystic, or Cryptics, is on the hunt for a flank from blue stairs, and Dino thinks better of it. Now he's sitting behind the server rack instead. A minute and a half left to go as Mystic try to work this further.
They're just gonna have to sit in these more aggressive positions, try to see if they can catch the Mystic off guard. But unfortunately, the Dino got droned out, and Cellrack is just gonna be all alone in a 1v5. Potential flawless round coming out for the side of Mystic. And it's not looking good for Cellrack, but they are starting to all funnel in towards the server room door. And Plant is looking to start to come out here shortly, but Cellrack is just gonna have to see if he can waste a little bit more time, but it's not looking likely. He has no real util to actually use to stall out some of these players, and he's gonna have to see if he can go up for a top floor flank here in just a few seconds.
He would try to peek from garage, but he wasn't quite able to hit the shot. Gets more peeks going back into the red hall. Looking towards Candle. He gets the pick on the Candle. That's actually the diffuser dropped, interestingly enough, along with his health pool. 35 seconds left, so if they can move properly, he doesn't have too much more time to waste, but the diffuser is picked back up. Player inside a garage, and that's what ultimately ends up being his undoing, with Cryptix holding the angle and only having to hit body shots on the lit player. That's actually a really good round for Mystic for the first time since, well, whenever they won that meeting round.
Yeah, it's just they really set the pace very early in that round. That's something we haven't really been able to see very consistently in this series so far. It's just really nice to see them coming out at the gate, not just saying, "Okay, we lost that map pretty handedly. We made a lot of mistakes going into that map. We're trying to see if we can fix them here on our favored map here so far." And it's just very good starting round as it's just so Alpha 1 were not able to really play off each other. They were just caught off guard on that roam and just looked stumbling into that final minute.
Gonna have an Echo Shotty being brought out here, interestingly enough. Not a bad choice. It's a lot like Smoke Shotty, but a lot less mobile and with a different shotgun, obviously. And it looks like that's how Dano's gonna be playing him as well. The Echo, I do like the addition of the Echo. It allows you to drone your roamers around the top floor, kind of like you're on the attack with the way that the droning entries works. So a little bit of that might be coming out, and you can also just hide the cams in precarious positions that the attack isn't going to find until it's too late.
I really hope we see essentially the DPEC effect coming out from Dino here. Just essentially able to drone out his teammates on the defense, kind of like you would do on the attack. Just kind of a bit of reverse Uno card there, as it's just like you don't really expect to be droned out by an Echo there, if you're on the attack. It's just like if they don't notice those things, they can really catch you off guard, and it just gives the defense essentially free picks that they're able to capitalize off it. But we don't see him coming out just yet, as it does seem the Alpha 1's looking to play a little bit more passively on this bomb site once again. Memories is getting a little bit aggressive on these blue stairs, but he's looking to hold his position so far, as they're just looking to waste a lot of time right now.
Not in as aggressive of positions as they were the last round. Silly does look like he wants to get a little bit aggro, though, before he actually just falls back onto the site. Just a little bit more than he was before. Because they know that Mystic are going to win their gunfights on this map. They know how to play it a lot more than they do Oregon. And all the roam clearing like it. Minute and 45 seconds, minute 15 off of the board here, and Mystic are starting to realize that there's not a whole of, like, anything in the way of first or presence, and this is when they really start to work that.
Just a lot more time just spent just trying to clear out some of these positions than they did last time, because they already essentially had 3 kills up in this point of the round. And just still a 5v5 here, so they're just looking to try to see if they can open up some of these hatches, make sure that they can get some of these positions cleared out. But unfortunately, Cellrack does get the first kill onto Moses, who is the nades in pocket. Sledge not really being all that useful on this bomb site, but those nades are going to really hurt to clear out some of these positions from especially Cellrack right here. Duns are going to come out as Candle does drop down into Vault. He's going to be looking to go into gold, but gets shut down by Dino on an aggressive swing coming out from the Echo there. Something we don't normally see from him, but some kills are coming out from Mystic here as they're trying to stay alive in this round.
They do get the advantage, though, which is quickly taken back by Hectic, but health advantage still pretty firmly in the hands of Mystic until Silly gets the pick on the Cryptix. All left up to Ozone here. Has gotten on the board in the first round, unlike the last map. He has 30 seconds left to win two 1v1s if they present themselves, but he isn't able to win one even. With Silly getting that pick, off a nice angle being held, he gets that headshot and ties things up 1-1, but it is a lot closer than we saw in the previous map, which is always good.
It's always good to see because it lets you know that this isn't just going to be a one-sided affair, which is something we really do not want to see. And last time we saw Mystic here, it was essentially a one-sided affair. Hong Kong Rebels just showed their absolute dominance on this map and just said, "Hey, hey Mystic, this is how you really play this map. This is how the big boys do it." And just we're seeing Mystic try to apply some of those lessons they learned in that series and apply it here. Just try to go for aggressive start and just kind of set the pace of the round. But unfortunately, again, Alpha One playing it patient, not giving away too many advantages early on, just means that Mystic have to somehow find those aggressive picks early, mid to late round. And just unfortunately, when they don't fight, they usually struggle.
What would appear to be the case as we move on to the secondary bomb side for Alpha 1, that being Executive Lounge CEO. Rooney being brought out and good for making head holes and rotates, along with having good utility in those surrogates. Along with, yet again, the Warden for Silly seems to like this operator quite a bit, but with the MPX with 1.5. Not sure I blame him. We'll see how Mystic attacks this. It's gonna have to do with the Monty, which is often a staple of the way Ozone likes to attack if you've watched previous teams as IGL, as well as this one. So we'll have to see if they're able to utilize it properly, and if they're able to use that to bring themselves to another round win.
Yeah, he usually just uses that to push up those red stairs in the lobby area and just it really just applies a lot of pressure to the presidential player, usually or Trump, whatever you want to call it, but just really just makes it a nuisance there because you can't really kill him and it just applies so much pressure that you have to constantly be on a swivel, making sure that he hasn't unshielded himself and going for that kill onto you. And you have to also contest with some of those players on the windows that we're going to be probably seeing in just a few seconds here as they're looking to go for another lobby push.
Does seem to be the case. Ozone aggressively scouting things out. He knows about what's clear now. He knows about what isn't clear. Impact EMP goes on that Kanto wall, so it'll most likely be opened in a second by the ace of aggro. And now he starts to push up the staircase to figure out where people are and send that information to his teammates. He knows that one's inside of Trump, or he can infer that one's inside of Trump, especially with the impacts flying out. And then Silly gets the first pick on the Kendall off screen from E1.
Unfortunately, I think that was just one of those repel players. As I'm not sure where Silly was. Actually, I think he was in the lobby, but they are able to shut him down in E2 as Ozone was essentially working as a human drone with that shield just kind of pressuring him down on that first floor area. Aggro is still looking to try to apply some pressure from this window here, and it's just Ozone. What? Did he just get stunned out there and swung on by Dino? I think he did. What a beautiful play coming out from him. Dino is looking to get aggressive onto the E2 drop there, but unfortunately gets shut down by Cryptics. Still an even affair at 3v3. Aggro does get another kill onto a player who's swinging out aggressively in the Trump area. Selrek still could get something going here from this meeting rotate, but it's going to have to see if Mystic actually knows about his position.
45 seconds left. Mystic are in a really good position to win this if they can play it right, but we've seen Selric and Memories both be beautiful clutch gods before. And the diffuser isn't down currently, with Ozone pushing a little bit too far up, perhaps. Cryptix almost bites the dust with Selric doing beautiful damage with that DMR. Moses is actually pretty disconnected from the main push, and he has a good opportunity if it presents itself. Memories almost picked up by Cryptix. 18 seconds left. They have to actually get into the bomb site and plan, and Cryptix makes that just that little bit easier with that pick onto Selric. And now it's just left up to Memories, and he is picked off by Moses. And Mystic show that they are in fact good at this map. They know what they're doing, and they know how to take the round advantage for, I believe, the first time in the series.
Yeah, they really, really played off each other really well. Something that we are really wanting to see in that first map, but unfortunately just didn't really come out all that often. Really nice to see that they're starting to do it on a map that they're really comfortable on. It's really showing right now because they know how to push some of these default holds that's coming out right now. They're not too surprised by what Alpha One is showing right now. showing default hold of elevator. They're showing a default hold of trump. They're showing default hold of square and all that. They're not surprised by any of this. They've scrimmed this a thousand times. They've played against this a thousand times. They know how to handle this. But we do see that Alpha 1 has a really good adaptation play coming out here, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them do that in this round here as they look to repeat once again.
They're certainly getting the goal here, and if they win this, then they get to go on to the site that they just previously won, being CCTV Lockers with a 2-2 score, and they're going to look to bring that up to a 3. However, Mystic, now that they have a little bit of momentum, a little bit of pizzazz going into this, especially Cryptics, to get 6-1 in 3 rounds, they're going to take this round advantage as far as they possibly can, as we do expect that because it is their map pick. So we do expect them to know it really well. I would anticipate a pretty similar attack to what we saw the last time, although this time actually allied, as there's an Ember on the board along with a Ying and Alliance, something more aggressive potentially coming out here from the side of Mystic, as they start to rappel up the side of the building, get some default cams out of the way, and get themselves in position.
We may see a very fast executes coming out here very soon. Bit of an off plant here, I'm assuming, as aggro is probably just going to be using some of these candelas and smokes to try to disorient some of these players on the actual bomb site and let Ozone get a plant, as it does seem that it's coming out right now. He's going to be going behind that desk and just apply cover from those windows. Can they secure that square flank, as it's Silly is on the ward and he can't deny this, but he's not doing it so far. He is able to shut down aggro, but plant does go down. Unfortunately, just not fast enough there, as he does get shut down by Ozone. This has now put Alpha 1 in a tricky spot here, as they have only 30 seconds to defuse this.
Does look like Mystic are prepared for the cover, though, as they trade things out fairly evenly. With only 25 seconds left, not long to get the diffuser off of the board. Kendall is almost killed, but he wastes some time. And now it's Cryptics in a good position on this window if he's able to take it. And he has clear view of the bomb, manages to get memories, and another one even! As Cedric gets Moses off screen, but there's still people on the actual windows that can be contested, and there's not even enough time, but Cryptics gets the kill anyways. And that's Mystic extending this round advantage, just like we were saying they needed to. And now they can go into this next site with newfound confidence, with a new sense of purpose, and that could be exactly what they need to get themselves back into the series.
They're just really showing their comfortability on this map, just showing that even things that we've seen them do 1,000 times, they do it so well that it's just really hard to actually counter it in such a way. Silly was the only one that could really have a possibility, as he was the closest one, but unfortunately went for the person on the actual rappel rather than the actual planter, and just meant that it forced the rest of his team to actually play under a clock situation. And just that's not really a good thing to see, as usually the 6-man that you were talking about in the first map, that's usually favoring the defense, all of a sudden is now favoring the attack, as you only have 45 seconds left to get that diffuser taken away. And just unfortunately, just not going their way.
In fact, excuse me for interrupting you. In fact, it's actually closer to 38 seconds, as you have to have 7 seconds, I believe, to defuse that diffuser. So even if you get to it in, say, 42 seconds, you still lose the round, which is what we saw happening with, I believe it was Hectic on the Alibi. And also with Cryptics picking up 9 kills in 4 rounds here. Really putting his team on his back and saying, you don't own me. We're going to go to map 3. We're going to win this. I don't care.
Yeah, they're just going for another kind of standard take going out here, just trying to clear out some of these roamers. It's just going to be up to Alpha 1 trying to see if they can slow down the momentum coming out from Mystic, as it's just looking like they're just surging ahead right now, not trying to slow down at all, not looking to make the same mistakes that they did on Oregon, as we saw previously. Memories is playing in a more aggressive position than we saw him typically play in these last 2 basement rounds, as he is looking to kind of hide out in tellers here and just hopefully get Mistron to try to get 1 free pick against one of the Mystic players.
If he's able to pick off Ozone by some damn miracle, then, well, it's gonna put Mystic in a rough spot, and I'm sure that Ozone will be ecstatic about the drone work that was being done. But regardless, that does have to happen first, and there is some vert play being done onto this area by Moses. So they have an idea that people are sitting in that area, but not exactly where, which is going to play into Memory's advantage. He takes a gunfight with Ozone in the main lobby, which neither player wins yet until Ozone does win it, which gives the opening pick over to the IGL of Mystic. And he gets a C4 off the board. Not a lot of utility other than that, but the main advantage is still something Mystic's going to appreciate. Especially with that down onto Silly.
They do get a nice kill onto Moses here, so it's still within reason that Alpha 1 can keep this close, but they're looking to just kind of get away and fall back to sight as they just essentially leave Silly to die as aggro is looking to open up some of these hatches, just waste these last minute of the round trying to open up some of these positions so they can actually go for the plant here. As the rest of Alpha 1 is looking to just kind of hold these angles and make sure that they can't go for this plant nearly as easily and pop these Goyo canisters to waste a lot more time.
48 seconds left here. Mystic are slowing down a little bit. This is kind of the phase where they're going to get things ready for the execute before everything happens at once. Get your hatches open, get your utility in place, burn your ADSs, and then run for it. Angles being held, Goyo canisters being popped. It's going to waste so much time for Mystic. They can't go in and get this plant till this is gone. And there's still nitro cells up on the board. Actually, only one nitro cell being held by Selrek. And a very late rotation comes out from Ozone. Hectic does get a pick on the Candle, though. So a little bit less time for Mystic. Only 10 seconds to start getting this bomb down. But Hectic loses the gunfight, or Selrek, sorry. And the plant is going down. Cryptix with another! And now it's all up to Hectic. From inside of lockers, he has to go in through red and get this kills, but there's a three-way crossfire being held by Mystic that he has to contend with, taking a little bit of ground, but he doesn't know where anyone is. He's going to try to go in. He needs to get these picks, and fast, but no one is giving themselves up. He makes a rotate hole for himself, but it's being watched. He gets the down into Ozone, but Cryptix with the Overwatch, 12 kills in the first half, and we have another round in the half before Mystic gets to go into the defense, and things are being brought back by Mystic in a fashion that I don't think we anticipated given the previous map.
Not gonna lie, I thought Alpha 1 was gonna win that round up until some of those Mystic players suddenly just started getting kills onto the players who were so crucial in denying the plant coming out there. We saw the Goyo swing out in aggressive position in archives, or like in that security area, just like. And then Echo, I don't know if he had any drones left, but if he didn't, then just, I mean, you kind of have to go for that swing now that you're down a man once again, and it's just, like, just really brutal round because I thought they wasted enough time with those Goyo canisters. It just meant Ozone had to rotate so far around. We saw him rotate to the actual CC hatch and to try to drop and go behind the bomb to plant because he couldn't go through the main doorway. I thought they had enough, but unfortunately just did not do nearly enough, and we're not holding those angles very well, and just meant that Mystic were able to get that bomb down and subsequently win the round out.
I'd like to draw attention again to the fact that only 5 rounds have elapsed. We're about to go into the 6, and Cryptix has 12 kills. He has died once. If this man is alive, everyone on your team is going to die. It's just a matter of fact at this point. So, kill Cryptix and then force the others to, I want to say carry their weight, because it's not that they're not carrying their weight, but force the others to pick up that slack that Cryptix will have left behind. Aggressive stock play coming out here, which almost gets punished, and actually does get punished by Candle. It's a good opening pick there. Hectic getting a little bit too overzealous, and now Silly is left to pick up the pieces there. And he does! He gets the pick on the Candle, brings one back. And now Mystic are fighting not from the back foot, but from a position that they maybe got a little bit too excited about.
Hectic definitely got a little too excited there as he just kind of was running around that stock area, just really aggressively, just not really giving a damn about his life there. And unfortunately just got picked off there, giving a free kill to Candle essentially in that round. But unfortunately just got shut down by Silly here, who is still locking down the stock hall area as Mystic is looking to try to aggress onto this top floor and just maintain this pressure for as long as they can, start opening up the holes onto archives and tellers. and just means that any of those roamers who are over in those areas can now have to start falling back onto the bomb site or go down below and start flanking from above.
So much time is being wasted here by Silly. I think he might have just fallen off. Yes, he has gone back to the basement. But if you don't know that, then Mystic might waste a little bit more time trying to locate him before Vert Play can actually be done. Heads over to the marble stairs. If we can get a pick, if someone from Mystic gets too overzealous, that's going to be good for him. But it doesn't look like that's the plan, as they want to get this Vert done and start actually aggressing onto the site itself.
Still wasting a lot of time trying to open up some of these angles, and aggro is looking to try to see if they can take out some of these players down below on possibly a basement lurk, as he's just looking to go very slowly, possibly looking to go up the marble stairs kind of as the execute starts to go out. Angles opened up by Moses, but unfortunately he's hitting the bars. Unfortunately, just them denying all his bullets onto Selrak there. He's able to get away with most of his life, thankfully for them, but aggro is able to take down Silly on that basement flurk. And just unfortunately, Selrak is now pinched here, as Memories does get a nice kill into Moses, so they're not completely out of this just yet.
Less than 30 seconds left. Mystic do have a good amount of ground, but they have to actually leverage it now and get onto the site. Aggro aggresses and takes a lot of damage for it from the Selric, still in his position. 15 seconds left. Dino gets back onto Cryptics, and Aggro has to win this one. Ozone has to win his, but no, everyone's picked off so fast. And Mystic isn't able to make it work there, and able to use that early pick. And now we have a 4-2 yet again. But it's a good 4-2, and if Mystic are this good at the attack, it will be interesting to see how they are. And for their sake, I hope that Mystic are as good at defense as they are at attack on this map, but we do have to see.
You would certainly hope so, especially if you are a Mystic fan, as I do think we are seeing a lot of them in the chat at the moment, now that they're coming alive once more. But just once again, Alpha 1 showing that when they play patient, play together, hold these angles, they win rounds out. They're not afraid to just kind of sit back on site and just make sure that the players of Mystic who are just funneling in just get punished because they're not playing with the rest of their team. When Mystic are playing with the rest of their team, they cannot do anything. And then when they get punished, the aggression coming out from Alpha 1, that's when they start to win. And we just didn't really see that round. We saw a little bit onto Hectic there, but unfortunately, that was the only situation. And just Moses, unfortunately, not able to get a kill onto Selrak there, really proved crucial there, as he was able to just deny aggro on the bottom marble stairs.
Aggro had a good position there, but unfortunately he wasn't able to do anything with it, and Alpha 1 just held him off. Aggressive roam being brought out by Mystic for, I believe that was the basement side of CCTV lockers. And this is, if I recall...
Open.
Okay, I lied, but still roaming on the top floor with the aggressive operators like Oryx is exactly what I wanted to see from them, as you can't bunker all the time. But Hectic gets the pick onto that Oryx through a wallbang, I think a counter wallbang, the Dino onto Ozone, and the plant is just going down. Only 30 seconds to progress, and Mystic are in the position to stop this. Cryptics as well falls, so does Moses, and flawless round from Alpha 1 off of something so strange. Oh, my voice hurts.
I'm gonna be honest here. I looked down for a second so I could actually write down who actually got the opening pick, because that's what I do every single time. I look down, I look back up, the round's already over. What happened? Because that was a nice rush play coming out from Alpha 1 to dictate the pace of the round so far. And just, like, I don't even know what happened there. That was just, like, what? I think just similar to that one meeting round that we saw in Oregon there, they just left side open for them to just start pushing in. And just Mystic look lost on that round. It's just like not looking to repeat that once again. It's just realize, okay, they know if we leave this thing open, they're just gonna take it. So let's not give it to them once again. They're just going to go down to basement this time. What? Like what?
You need to actually watch the side if you're going to do an aggressive realm, and unfortunately Mystic falls in that department. As mentioned previously, basement being brought out here, the bottom floor site. Also a site that Alpha 1 liked quite a bit, and we'll see if Mystic like it just as much, and if they're able to play it maybe a little bit better than Alpha 1 was. As I believe they lost it twice and won it once. Looks like we're having a more anchor-heavy strategy come out here from Mystic, so Actually, no, I lied. There is a Vigil roaming top floor. Looks like he might be by himself, unless Aggro is going to stay up there with him. But if those two are able to play off of one another and really waste time, I think that might be the thing that Mystic needs to undo the safety nets that Alpha 1 gives themselves, but we do have to see.
You do see Aggro place down a very late Goyo canister there, just looking to waste some time here. But Alpha One's looking to play off that drone game really well here, and Aggro might not be able to actually get a chance to pop that Goyo canister, as they're looking to just kind of swing onto him. He was able to keep his life and pop the Goyo canister, but Memory does get a nice kill onto him. I think watching that skylight angle just means that he has nowhere left to go. Hectic is kind of getting separated from the rest of his team thanks to that Koyo canister, and they do still have to deal with Candle on the roam top here, but they're just looking good so far.
Looks like a Mr. Run comes out on the Candle here. You know, he's going to want to leverage that, but like Braction in the qualifiers on the Kavera if anyone was around for that game. Celric going onto the main stairs along with Memory takes a sizable chunk of damage from the fall, and Cryptix with the rat angle. Bully gets the pick, but Moses refragged too, so not that far behind still from Alpha 1, still maintaining that man advantage, still maintaining those refrags, but Candle is on the flank now, onto an unaware Celric, and he gets the pick, and that's even for Mystic now. A minute and a half left, and they have to contend with this Vigil running around top floor and making things difficult.
I think Alpha One has realized that they've lost top four control and just looking to try to get into the bomb site here. Does seem that Hectic goes down to Candle, I think, once again, just trying to watch for that late flank, but you're getting shut down by this aggressive roamer up top. Now they're just getting denied in the server room. They have no way to actually get into the bomb site here. Don't know what's going on, but Ozone does seem to still have intel here. He does have one. He does spot out the Iana clone, who does swing out. He somehow loses that gunfight. Now they actually have the site. The players of Mystic are playing off each other, and Cryptix is on such low HP. Plant is going down. It's essentially a 1v1 here, but Cryptix gets a nice kill onto Silly. Now it's a 1v2. Dino has to get a kill onto Cryptix here. He is able to get Candle here. It is a 1v1. He needs only one bullet. Tries to flash him out here. He's just gotta be patient here. Doesn't know where Cryptix is. He's just gonna swing on him and he gets a nice kill onto him. And that's another round on the board for Alpha One. Something that was not going their way thanks to Candle, but unfortunately just surging into sight and just gets them that round.
Doesn't matter how well Kendall plays if he can't pick it up in the late round, and if Mystic can't pick it up in the late round in general. And now we have ourselves a tied game with an exceptional series of attacks coming out from Alpha 1. And Mystic complete a full site rotation, but not in the way I'm sure that they were hoping they would. Going up to CEO Executive Lounge here. Hopefully a site for their sake that they're able to play more proficiently on, but this defense from Mystic hasn't really been all that convincing as to them being aware of this map and how to control it.
It's definitely not looking good so far, as they have not been able to win out anything so far on two different bomb sites. Something that was kind of concerning about last map is that they were only able to win on one bomb site. Now we're going to their third finally, but this is going to have to be where they start to gain some of that momentum back that they've already lost now. Like you said, it's tied back up 4-4. Alpha 1 looking to gain the round lead in terms of just advantage. And just, it's like, again, just some of the previous issues that Mystic were plaguing them in the first map are coming back to haunt them once more. And just like, what are you going to do to actually start winning some of these defenses right now?
Certainly is the question of the hour. And one that Alpha 1 is hoping that they don't answer. I would imagine the attack is going to be pretty similar to that of Mystic. It's a very standard attack that Mystic pulled out, but things generally tend to be standard for a reason with this game. So, why change it up all that much? Although it does look like it might be more square-oriented than what we saw from Mystic. Especially with the two players actually sitting on the square balcony.
We are seeing Silly just kind of try to take pop shots onto Ozone here, who's just staying behind his shield, not looking to get super aggressive here, just try to waste as much time as possible. He is kind of still not really looking good in terms of his gun skill, but he is essentially the, I believe, still the IGL for Mystic, so he's more used for his brains rather than his gun skill, and that's very evident here, as he is was able to lead his team to a nice attacking half, but it's not looking good so far in their defensive half. So it's going to be up to him to try to shore up some of these defensive here and try to keep his team together.
Cryptix goes for a pixel peek on a long angle, but unfortunately isn't quite able to react in time to hit the shot. Aggro looks like he wants to be aggressive onto top square here, as Cryptix does, and a series of kills come out, which land us in a 3v3. Things have slowed down a little bit now after those series of kills progress until Hectic gets one on the Candle, leaving just Moses and Aggro left alive on the bomb site. They have it all to do, and they have a minute and 15 seconds to try to hold off the tides of destiny. Aggro gets drawn down, and it doesn't look like he realizes it, which is a really precarious position to be in if you're him. Almost gets picked off, but not quite. Able to hold his own there in that room. Memories doesn't quite land the shots. Less than a minute now. Still aware of Aggro's position, most likely Moses' position as well, as Aggro almost baits the dust, as Moses does start holding his crossfire, which could potentially lead to a pick here, and it does. Memory's unable to hit the shot. We're in an even 2v2 now with Aggro not getting the shotgun pump like he wants, and now it's all up to Moses in the 1v2. Not sure where either of them are. They have good cover, and the diffuser's going to go down here shortly. Surely. Yellow Ping's coming out onto the ace, who knows where the ace is at least, but he isn't able to get an angle onto the ace at all, and the ace is just going to wait for his teammate. 15 seconds left. Impact grenades soar out. Not able to kill him, but able to do a sizable bit of damage. Collapse coming out onto Moses here, and it ends up with Hectic getting the kill from Janitor. And that is 5 for a perfect attack so far from Alpha 1. Outclassing Mystic at every step.
I just like the team play coming out from Alpha 1 is just seemingly unstoppable when they actually start to coordinate what they want to do. We saw them get a little bit lose the plot a little bit on their defensive half, but once they started to move on to their attacks, they look almost unstoppable because they're just refragging each other, they're playing off each other really well. They know what they want to do and they're executing on it so perfectly because we saw them try to swing out onto Aggro there because they know he cannot go anywhere. They essentially have to kill him and then just move on to the last player in Trump area, and just they did that so beautifully and just killed the rest of the players of Mystic who were just getting too aggressive around the map. And just it's not looking good for Mystic right now if I'm being perfectly honest here. What looked really good for their attacking half is all of a sudden turned really sour. Now this is an attacking sided map, so it's not too surprising, but they need to get something going on their defense if they want to stay in this.
I think it is important to remind everyone that Mystic are on the back foot here in terms of map counts. And if Alpha 1 are able to leverage that too much, we could see Mystic main go out 2-0, which I'm sure Scoo would have a field day with on Twitter. So, of course, they're not going to want to let that happen. Looks like Alpha 1 are going to go for a very similar attack to what they have been doing already, which, I mean, why not? It's been working pretty flawlessly thus far. There really isn't a whole lot of reason to change it, especially if you're able to make it work and Mystic don't adapt in time.
Now, I think we're seeing another adaptation coming out from Mystic trying to slow them down for as long as they can here, but it's just making sure that they cannot go for that same rush attempt. It's not looking like this aggressive lineup as they do get the nice first kill onto Silly there in the stock area. Moses is just going to lock those down with the zombie barriers, just making himself a nuisance in terms of trying to get him out of this position because they can't really do anything. And Ozo gets another kill onto Cellrack. Those are 2 nades off the board, so you're pretty much going to have to kill Moses with pure gun skill right now.
It really does look like that is the case. Much better defense in the site than what we saw last time from Mystic, especially from Mozone, Ozone, and Candle even, who gets his pick onto Dino Angel and drops the diffuser. Moses still in this position, Candle still in his, and, well, Moses picked off no flawless round. But Hectic is on such low HP, and Ozone takes advantage. And that's a good defense coming out here from Mystic, but they have to repeat this on other sites, because either team is only 2 rounds away from locking this out in regulation.
It's really hard to tell who's just going to be coming out right here, because as our producer just kind of pointed out here, is being very streaky in terms of who just wins things out. It's either one or the other. It's like only one team is able to win consecutive rounds, and then one team's finally able to win one, but then the other team comes right on back. So it's just like if you're looking at general statistics, we may be seeing it overtime, or we may see Alpha One come back here and win these next two rounds out just on pure momentum. But really good round coming out from Mystic of be able to like stall completely shut down that push coming out from square balcony and just and able to annihilate them, not giving them any room to work with. That was a beautiful first defensive round win from them.
But Mystic needs to get themselves back on the board for this half. And hopefully it starts a bit of momentum that they're going to need to carry with them throughout the rest of this half if they want hopes of winning this. Because again, I know I've been memeing about it a little bit with the Mystic Man vs Mystic ACAD, but you don't want to go out in group stage if you're Mystic. You've been together for so long. During the last CL quals, you were at least arguably the favorite to get in and qual by knocking out Investigation File. And for a team with that kind of pedigree to go out in group stage in Xenon, it would be a little bit disappointing, and I'm sure it would lead to a lot of shakeups in the roster, and maybe even coaching staff. Aside from that, another rotation coming out here, this time onto CEO Executive Lounge. The same rotation we saw them employ previously, which, again, they really, really need to make work for them.
They just need to not let Alpha One get too comfortable because that's what we saw last time. They were just able to push in deep into square and just isolate some of these players as they were just trying to swing out onto them. And we need to see them hold these positions for a lot longer. We need to see Ozone hold down stock. We need to see one of the site players hold their angles and not give it away for free here to Alpha One. And just they're doing a little bit better job so far as they are able to waste a minute, but Candle gives away the first one. And just that's not a good start coming out, and especially with that Warden who can isolate some of those smoke play.
The first domino falls, and Mystic are undoubtedly going to feel the pressure. Playing from the back foot, though, has been very familiar for them with the previous map, and these previous rounds even. With Hectic looking to get Ozone out of position here. He really wants to get rid of the shield it looks like he might have, and Selric is going to try to peek off of that. Shield gone, but Ozone is not. Aggro gets a pick onto Silius, the refrag coming out, something that Mystic desperately needs. And now they need to try to leverage it. They have a minute and 10 seconds left to defend the site here. And Alpha One are going to look to utilize that time as much as they can. They're not going to be in a hurry. They're going to be looking to isolate angles and people. And then take things as they come. Take them slow. And try to get that pick onto aggro that almost comes from memories. But he doesn't look like he knows exactly where aggro is. Cryptics as well almost falls. The health advantage falls further and further in favor of Alpha 1. Humidor Castle Barricade knocked off. Memories almost taken off of the board. A zombie barricade is going to take the place of that castle barricade. He gives Cryptics more places to hide. 30 seconds left. Pressure undoubtedly being felt by Alpha 1 now. They have to get onto the bomb site, and they have to do it quickly. Long angles being held by Cryptics. Someone peeks him. Well, he could get the pick, but his zombie barricade not put back up in time. He is down. Man advantage now for Alpha 1. The attack onto the side is going to go in, and it doesn't seem like aggro is too aware of it. He misses the pick onto the diffuser carrier, and then he downs. And now it's left up to Moses. If he can't win this, it's match point. Map and match point almost secured. Only 40 seconds away. Moses has to dance carefully. He has to dance delicately. Almost has to pick onto one side of Janitor, but they aren't revealing themselves. And now he has to move quick, but no! Hectic on the roof! And Mystic staring down the barrel of map and match point. They just can't get it done. They can't win the rounds they need. And they're only one round away from going out 2-0.
It's just such a heartbreaking round for them to lose because they were looking so good. They had 14 seconds left, but aggro missed his shots onto the diffuser carrier. And just because he wasn't able to secure that kill, that just meant that Alpha 1 were able to surge into sight and they were able to isolate out aggro. And because they had naded someone else out earlier, it was able to just swing out onto the rest of the players who were trying to sit back and hold those angles. but just because you weren't actively holding some of those angles, it just meant that they were able to just walk right on in and just, oh, if he didn't miss his shots there, that could have been a round win for Mystic. But it's just, that's just really how this whole thing has been going, hasn't it? Just really unfortunate for him.
Can't miss your shots in situations like that, and Aggro shows us why. If he kills that diffuser planner, it gives his team so much room to work with, so much less pressure, but he whiffs. And that, unfortunately, is one of the dominoes, one of the many dominoes in Alpha 1's domination of that round. And now Mystic, again, just the back foot so familiar to them, but it doesn't look like that's helping them at all. Looks like a much more aggressive Roman strategy is being brought out this time, which we have seen them try to employ before, but it hasn't worked. Maybe this time will be different.
It has to be, otherwise they're going to be eliminated, like you said, in 2-0 fashion. Moses is looking to get a C4 out. Doesn't connect to the ceiling, so unfortunately that's just one's just gonna whiff. Aggro does shoot a drone, so that's just going to deny some of that intel as he's looking to get aggressive onto the marble stairs, but Candle's getting lit up here. He's going to have to evacuate from his position here, and it's just looking dire right now as Alpha 1's just applying so much pressure onto these players as Candle finally goes down to cell rack.
A very influential player the last time they tried to defend this bomb site, but not when it was most crucially so. And now he's gone. All he can do as the rest of his team tries to face down the barrel of match point is sit and watch. Aggro opens up a rotate for his teammate inside of the archives. Ozone moves to a better position to utilize his yokai drones. Fair play is coming down from Alpha 1. They really want these defenders out of here, and they really have to hold on because of the fact that they opened up those hatches. If that ground is taken, that is exceptionally powerful without using a lot of utility if you are Alpha 1. And Aggro and Moses are going to be feeling that. Moses almost gets killed, and then he does! Only 3 players left from Mystic. Aggro does get another one back, but they know where he is now, and he doesn't have a good route back to the site, and it looks like a pinch is coming out from the printer window and main stairs. Cryptix gets memories, though. Gets one back, but Aggro is downed and killed. It's all left up to Cryptix. And Ozone sitting on the site with it all to do, all to save. Drone goes down the main stairs, but doesn't quite find anything yet. It's 45 seconds. Now 40. That's all we have.
Aggro was able to waste a lot of time here, but is it gonna be enough? Alpha 1 is looking to try to move on in. Ozone is able to take out Silly. That's going to be a bit easier to deal with as it is a 2v2. Salrak and Dino are looking to drop down that hatch, looking to get this diffuser down. Unfortunately, Salrak goes down, and Dino is all alone essentially in 15 seconds left. He's going to have to start swinging in. Ozone does get the confirmed kill onto Salrak. Dino is able to kill him. Oh my god! Oh, he was able to kill.
Mystic hold on for just one more round. They bring it to overtime. But they are put on the defense here, which has been just, well, it's been bad for them, quite frankly. They only won 2 rounds on the defense compared to the 4 won by Alpha 1, which, again, attacker-sided map. But we don't expect it to be in that dominant of fashion. And a lot of the things that Mystic is winning, they quite frankly should have won. Another Lockers defense coming out here from Mystic as they need to make their stake on this first round of overtime, or it may be too late.
Oh, I can't handle this. This has just been, that was such a tense round for Mystic, I'm sure, especially when that went down to a 1v1. That could have spelled disaster for them if Dino was able to secure that final kill, but unfortunately, and thankfully for Mystic, they were able to finally get that. But that was way too close if you're a Mystic fan right now, as they're looking to stay alive and force a map number 3 here. Oh, man. Oh, I can't handle this. Oh, boy.
I feel like I've become, like, a dramatic, narrator of, a book with how, melodramatic I got in the last round, but I feel like it is warranted because there's just so much on
doing some audiobook reading? Have you thought about that?
I've been told since I was like 15 that I should, and I haven't. I did get into casting though, which is pretty good
Well, you're
time.
halfway there. You're
Yeah,
halfway to being a voice actor.
yeah, just
You're
have to
sort of there.
just have to cast a version of The Hobbit that will inevitably rewritten to have Legolas and Toriel in it yet again. But that's off topic, very off topic, and potentially copyright strike worthy. Again, Locker CCTV is where Alpha 1 is going to be attacking here. And they're going to be fairly comfortable with attacking the side because they know how to get Mystic in the positions they want. Although Mystic has somewhat thwarted that the past couple rounds, and they have switched up the defense quite a bit. Again, throwing out everything plus the kitchen sink because better to stay in than not. It's like we might have a dirt rush if things go that way.
Well, you say that, but they're just going to immediately evacuate as soon as they see some pressure coming out from the smoke vape of Candle. But it does seem that they're taking their time trying to see if they can clear out server room very quickly. But since they are now having to waste so much time trying to rotate around, this may not look very good as far as their chances because they don't have as much room to work with to start clearing out some of these positions. They are going to try to see if they can open up that main hatch and possibly go for a garage push here coming out from Cell Rack, I think. That hatch is going to be open, so they do still have a chance in this round, but it's going to be a lot of time wasted because of that.
Certainly will be a lot of time wasted, and something I'm sure Alpha 1's going to be feeling quite a bit if Mystic were able to take advantage. 5v5 thus far, which, if you're Mystic, is probably a good thing. The more people you have on the board, the better for you, especially with the pressure that we have done. I'd say more than enough to elaborate on, more than enough to establish. It doesn't look like anyone's going to try to push aggro or Candle out of their positions, which, if a CC plant happens, will allow them to aggress onto that doorway with the utility that the smoke provides and the utility that Wilmai provides, and that could be enough.
We nearly saw an engagement between Silly and Moses over here onto the marble stairs. Ships passing in the night almost as they just kind of are dancing with death with each other. And just unfortunately, no kills actually being confirmed so far. We do see some engagements. Candle finally able to get the first kill onto Cellwreck as it looks like an execute's about to happen here.
Handle with a second pick even. Silly does get down the main stairs, but no one knows where he is. He manages to get two though as Cryptix gets another one. Silly and Memories, they have it all to do. They have to pick this back up. They have to pick up the pieces here.
No.
One piece picked up by Silly.
No.
And then another by Memories, and it's just Candle left up in open area. He does have the diffuser, and there are only 10 seconds left. He could win this just off of time. Just has to get one, get the second, but no! Alpha 1! They get it! Oh my god! What should have been a Mystic round is now in the favor of Alpha 1. All that effort. Oh no.
Check us into the hospital. I'm about to have a heart attack. I think we both are. Oh, just like, they wasted so much time trying to actually rotate that push. And you would think having the diffuser dropped all the way upstairs and them having only a limited amount of time to try to rush back up and grab it and then go plant. You would think that'd be a Mystic round win, but unfortunately he chooses to actually stay close by and get aggressive rather than playing somewhere close by to site and just playing safe to deny it later on. That may really come back to haunt Mystic here if Alpha 1 end up winning this map out.
Back to open area we go, this time for Alpha 1. As they're in the advantage here. They stole around there. That was thievery, that was robbery. Didn't think I was casting Payday 2 today, but that's exactly what we saw there with that. Just, again, borderline robbery taking place.
We are on a bank, so it makes sense.
It does indeed make sense, although not one that's in the game. Until the inevitable crossover in, well, like 2025, a couple years after 3 is released. Looks like Alpha 1 is going to be going for something, I'd say, fairly similar to what we saw them doing last time. Or I think what we saw them doing last time. If I actually went here, I don't exactly recall after the tomfoolery that I have just witnessed and just started screaming over. Mystic, my guys, you, please, I beg.
This was the round that they won second in terms of they won first on basement, then they won second on open. So I'm sure it's a very similar lineup coming out here that we saw last time. It's been a very long time since we've been here, though. So anything could really happen. Mystic should have some sort of adaptation because they have been able to see this before. So hopefully they recognize what is going on here and are able to counter it so far. They are on the attacking half so far, which has been seemingly favored so far in this map. It's just they're looking to try to take this top floor control as fast as they can and start opening up these floor holes onto the actual roamers on around the map.
So this is going to be one of the first points of contention that Mystery has to face here. Although it does look like Cryptix has a flank and Aggro gets the opening pick onto someone completely unrelated. But Mystic, they miss Silly inside a janitor closet. That could have been a free pick for Cryptix. He is going to be alerted to that position now, though, and he's going to look to try to get that pick. But no! Silly! He gets the pick that should have gone Cryptix's way. And now Mystic, yet again, losing people they shouldn't. And another! He gets another and just falls into the basements. What's happening?
Just absolute robbery coming out from Silly here. It's just he's able to get 2 kills that he should not have gotten away with. As when they knew where he was, all they had to do was pinch him out, but they gave him individual gunfights. And just unfortunately, he's just proving to be the better gunner on 17 and 10, just able to neutralize 2 of the biggest fraggers from the side of Mystic. And it's just going to be all up to Moses, Aggro, and Ozone, as Ozone's finally able to get a kill on Hectic.
Does get a pick, but there's less than a minute left in Mystic. The pressure from the roamers, from the round count, from everything, it's all built up to this. If they can't make it happen here, then they can't make it happen in this stage of Xenon. Drone goes out, they locate the player inside of Archives. This is going to be one of their first targets, but the Archives player just bounces because there's only 20 seconds left. The time is so far against Mystic. C4 goes out, doesn't get anything, but the time wasted still there, and the pick on the Ozone diffuser dropped. Aggro gets 1, but he gets picked off by Silly. Alt up to Moses, and he's killed 2! And Mystic lose 2-0, gone from Xenon. Only 1 remains from Mystic. A game that I think we all anticipated to go the other way in such brutal fashion goes the way of Alpha 1. Which concludes this concludes Mystic's run in Xenon Season 4. There's nothing left for them.
No, they're completely out of it. And now Alpha 1 is going to be looking to see if they can win against either HK Rebels or Mystic ACAD and just get revenge against either, I believe, the ACAD roster or face off against Rebels for the first time. But looked so good for Mystic from the start there, but unfortunately was not able to close it out. It's just really heartbreaking for them, if I'm being perfectly honest.
It it is perfectly heartbreaking, and just there were so many rounds that should have gone Mystic's way, just flat out should have gone Mystic's way, but whether it was misplays or miscommunication, they just weren't able to close them out, and Alpha 1 would just take it so convincingly, so damn convincingly, so consistently even. Like, it's not something we see a lot, especially against a team with the caliber of players that Mystic contain.
Yeah, no, just really good players all across the board here tonight. But just unfortunately, Alpha 1 proving to be the better team tonight. And they're going to be seeing who they play against in tomorrow's matchup at 6 Eastern Time, of as HK Rebels is going to be playing against Mystic ACAD. Like I said, tomorrow night, 6 Eastern Time. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you then. Good night. I need a break. Oh, man.
Yeah, I think we both do, honestly.